hold it. For the love of Jane Russell's big fat horse's ass on toast, stop ringing that goddamn bell. Shit the bed. Well, howdy, folks. Come on in. Well, from the looks of them fancy breeches and sassy little hairdos, y'all ain't from around here, are you? So where y'all from? What? I didn't quite get that. Obviously all y'all is mutes. 'Cause you wouldn't be fucking with me now, would you? No. See, the last guy that fucked with me ain't having a real good howdy-do today right now.
Before it was a cult classic, and before it launched the Firefly family into horror infamy, and long before it had a home on DVD shelves next to The Devil's Rejects, House of a Thousand Corpses existed as something else. Something darker, longer, and almost too twisted for theaters. A version only select few ever saw. A version that may now be lost forever. On today's episode of Lost Horror Media, we explore the forgotten extended cut of Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses, a true case of Lost Horror Media. Hey everybody, it's Dave from Nerdbox, and welcome back to another episode of Lost Horror Media, where we dig up the bones of horror history and bring the long-buried nightmares to light. Now, before we jump into today's episode, don't forget to drop a like on this video, comment as we're going along if you've heard of some of the things that we're about to talk about, and if you're not subscribed, please do that. Now let's dive into this episode. Rob Zombie's first foray into filmmaking was anything but smooth. House of a Thousand Corpses, his directorial debut, was originally produced by Universal Pictures in 2000. At the time, Rob was known for his stage presence, his music videos, and his obsession with vintage horror, but not for filmmaking. When he delivered his first cut of the film, it reportedly ran around 105 minutes. A glorious, chaotic blend of psychedelic visuals, grindhouse gore, and sadistic Southern Gothic atmosphere. Universal was horrified. Not in a good way either. They feared an NC-17 rating from the MPAA. They shelved the film, and years had passed. The movie was sold, and when Lionsgate finally released it in 2003, what we got was a tightly edited 89-minute cut, heavily censored, missing key characters, and omitting entire subplots. What was lost in the process remains one of the great horror mysteries in the 2000s. At its core, House of a Thousand Corpses is a 1970s-inspired road trip horror story, drenched in blood and nihilism. It follows four young adults, Jerry, Mary, Denise, and Bill, on a Halloween road trip through rural Texas looking for roadside attractions. They stumble into the roadside attraction run by Captain Spaulding, a vulgar clown, and a carnival barker who sends them on a search for the legend of Dr. Satan.
Now, one of our local heroes, Esquinton Quayle, a.k.a. Dr. Satan. Murderer, torturer, but most of all, master surgeon. Vigilante justice prevailed. They took his ass out and hung him. And the next day, his body was found to be missing. Until today, no trace of Dr. Satan has ever been discovered.
What starts out as a morbid curiosity turns into a descent into madness when the four encounter the Firefly family. Otis, Baby, Mother, Firefly, and Grandpa Hugo. The group is quickly tortured, manipulated, and killed off in grotesque theatrical fashion. The final act dives fully into surreal horror, culminating in an underground lair, surgical mutilation, and the unmasking of Dr. Satan himself. It was a fever dream finale that earned both praise and criticism, but this version, as strange as it was already a diluted one. It was the compromised child of censorship and studio anxiety. The original version? Well, that's what we're about to dig up. When Rob Zombie first completed House of a Thousand Corpses, it was much more than audiences saw in 2003. At 105 minutes, the original cut included more character development, a slower burn to horror, and shockingly graphic content. It's not like it was today, post-Terrifier 2 hitting theaters. It explored the Firefly family's depravity in detail, including scenes of psychological torture and ritualistic killing. Perhaps what's most intriguing is the material that we never saw. Jeanne Carmen played Miss Bunny, a grotesque puppet-wielding woman who used dead animals to reenact scenes from Casablanca. Zombie confirmed the scene was shot, but it was removed entirely. Another subplot involving a skunk-ape creature, possibly a failed experiment or mutated human, was cut down to a single blink-and-you'll-miss-it shot. Even the 4 travelers that we saw in the film were given more background and bonding moments before their tragic fates. Zombie, anticipating trouble from the censors, shot 2 versions of many scenes. One with blood, one without. Some were filmed under blood-red lighting to trick the MPAA into thinking more was implied than shown. But it didn't matter. Universal balked, as we've heard and talked about on this channel so many times, where the studios got involved where they didn't need to be. The film to them was too extreme, too weird, and they refused to release it.
But when you start getting notes back from the MPA, it's not always just like it's too violent. It's like it's too dark. The tone is too dark. All the things you strive for when you're making it are the exact things they attack. So you're essentially like, oh, so if I make it less intense and less dark, then you'll approve it. But now you've basically said make it less good.
Universal Pictures was rattled. The MPAA had unofficially signaled that the film would earn an NC-17 rating, and at that time, it was a commercial death sentence. Films didn't get released to theaters unrated at that time. Even with zombies, compromises, and lighting tricks, there was no way that the full 105-minute cut would ever play in mainstream theaters.
So I made the movie with Universal Studios, and once they screened it, we had our test screening, which I thought went great. What do I know? The head of Universal at the time came up to me and was like, "We have to talk tomorrow." I was like, "Oh man, that was not a good tone. That wasn't a 'you're so great, we want to give you a 5-picture deal' tone of voice." So the next day they dumped the movie and just basically booted us out. And then
what was the conversation?
They were like, basically this is unreleasable.
Once Lionsgate picked up the project, they requested a full recut. This version came in at 89 minutes, now short enough to pass as a midnight movie, but missing many of the film's stranger, darker layers. Most heavily affected was Sherry Moon Zombie's character, Baby Firefly. Many of her acts of sadism were censored or removed, dulling the sheer psychopathy she was meant to embody.
Yeah, we like to get fucked up and do fucked up shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like to get fucked up too.
She was pretty psychotic in that movie. I would love to see how far and over the top she went in this original cut. Now, I know many people are not fans of Sherry Moon Zombie anymore, but hey, if you're a fan of Baby Firefly or Sherry Moon Zombie, let me know by dropping it in the comments. And if you're not, hey, you can let me know there too. Fish Boy, the human mermaid sculpture, was originally given more screen time and a full reveal. The new ending, which features Dr. Satan and his lair, was added in later and funded by Lionsgate, replacing an entirely different conclusion. But more on that in a little bit.
Look, if you don't quit doing the asshole shuffle and pick one of these goddamn options, I'm gonna come over there and put my boot up your ass. Well, fine. You can just stand there and kiss a dog's titties for all I care.
Upon its release in 2003, House of a Thousand Corpses earned mixed reviews. Critics had dismissed it as derivative and incoherent, with some calling it style over substance, but fans like me, particularly horror purists, embraced the unapologetic grime, gore, and the giallo-style lighting. It became an instant cult favorite, and if I remember correctly, I went to see this at a midnight showing, and I left with a big grin on my face. Some of the people that went with me weren't too happy, but I loved every second of this film. And even back in Blockbuster when we first got it for rent, I would play this every single morning that I had to open up that store. The film would go on to earn over $16 million at the box office on a $7 million budget. And more importantly, it sparked the Firefly trilogy, later followed by Devil's Rejects and then Three from Hell. But even as it grew in popularity, whispers of the original cut persisted, especially after one international screening and one very suspicious leak.
There's over. Ladies and germs, it's showtime!
Prior to its release on March 13, 2003, the full uncut version of House of a Thousand Corpses was shown at the Mar del Plata International Film Festival in Argentina. This version ran for 105 minutes, a full 16 minutes longer than what would be released in theaters just a few weeks later. Even more mysterious is that a rumored screener copy allegedly leaked online a month before the film's theatrical debut. This pirated version was 103 minutes. That's 2 minutes shy of the festival version, so suggesting that this may have had or included alternate or work print footage. However, no confirmed copy of this screener has ever surfaced. In fact, there's some links out there that suggest that it goes to the copy, but I haven't been able to find that original screener copy. Zombie himself has said he doesn't think the full version will ever be released. The footage is believed to be lost, either buried in Universal's archives or discarded entirely. With hundreds of interviews, behind-the-scenes clips, and alternate takes filmed during production, very little of it has survived. What exists on DVD and Blu-ray is all we may ever get. The final theatrical ending, featuring Denise escaping the lair of Dr. Satan only to fall into Captain Spaulding's clutches, was not the original plan. Press photos show a completely different ending in which Jerry, played by Chris Hardwick, is eaten alive by zombies. Dr. Satan wasn't even in this version. But this may have been the one right decision to come out of all of that chaos. The new ending embraced full-blown surrealism and has now become iconic. That original version, possibly included in that elusive screener or shown at that film festival, is lost to time. Now, House of a Thousand Corpses may be iconic, but the one that we never saw, that's the real ghost story here. The true piece of lost horror media. Somewhere out there, in a dusty film canister, in an abandoned vault, or maybe in somebody's private collection, the original version exists. I have faith in that. That copy is still out there somewhere. But until it surfaces, we're left with questions, rumors, and the shadows of what could have been. Now, don't forget to drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already did that. Don't worry about clicking the notification bell because we'll always be there. Now, if you have seen that missing cut or even heard of the whispers of the 103-minute screener, drop a comment below. Also, let me know if you want to see the original cut or if this one was enough for you or you just hated the original film. Also, Rob Zombie as a director, I like that Halloween. Halloween 2, not so much. But let me know what you think of Rob Zombie as a director. Anyway, before we go, thanks for joining us once again, because horror history isn't just written, sometimes it's buried. And until the next, see ya.
Rude people, violence, clowns, fucking whore. What the hell are you all still doing here? What, are you in love with my ass or something? Well, why don't you just get up off that couch and come here and kiss me on my ass then? Jesus Christ. Oh, well, fine. It is now official. You have just wasted most of my fucking day.